Hello and welcome to the Fear Free Human Show. I am Zen Cryer DeBrook, and I am thrilled to be here talking to you today. This show is dedicated to people who want to live their life in the ultimate way. And what I mean by that is always being in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing. And that's what this show is really all about. And so the way that I show people how to do that is by using what I call your internal guidance system. It is a factory installed system, if you will, that you were born with. And what it does is it lets you know when you are moving off of the path that's going to produce the most success, joy, and happiness in your life, harmony, okay, in your life, and how to get back on it. And today, before we get started with the coaching, while I'm waiting for people to come on, I want to let you know that this is an incredibly important thing for you to discover. If you have not learned how to use your own internal guidance system, and most billions of people on the planet have not, it's actually a little more challenging than you might think. But once you get it, you'll keep it and you'll have it forever. And the thing that I want you to know is that anytime you have a lump in your throat, a tight feeling, uncomfortable feeling in your chest, which is anxiety, worry, fear, overwhelm, frustration, irritation, procrastination, okay, doubt, mistrust, distrust of something, okay, concern, defensiveness, impatience. These are just to name a few. Anytime you feel any of those, what you are thinking is not true or not going to happen. Okay, what you are thinking when your center of your body constricts, the other one is the solar plex area where your rib cage comes together. If you are feeling that in the center of your body, not a single action that you are about to take will work to your benefit. I'm going to say that again. When you're irritated with your spouse and you make a comment, what you're thinking in that irritation is not true about what's happening between you and your spouse. Therefore, there are two things. Number one, any action that you take cannot be worked out because what you're thinking about this problem cannot have a solution when you start with a false premise. Number two, because closing begets closing, when you feel this tightness in the center of your body, we call that being closed. It's like a valve, it's like a constriction. You know what I'm talking about. It feels tight, right? It doesn't feel open and relaxed and like you can breathe. When you feel that tightness, they can feel the tightness. So closing begets closing and opening begets opening. This is why you can make a comment that you think is so, you know, neutral, right? What do you mean? I didn't say anything wrong. You can make a comment that's neutral and have the person go rah at you, right? It's because they can feel your closing. And because you're in the closing, it means that what you're thinking isn't true. And because it isn't true, you're coming from a false premise, and that any action that you take from there isn't going to work out for you. And so it's crucial, not only just in our intimate relationships, in our professional experiences that we're in. I want to turn on the comments here because I'd love to hear from you guys. Um, and turn on the chat, by the way, if you're watching, you can chat with me. You can ask me questions. You can make comments depending on where you are. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook. We're on LinkedIn. We're on Rumble and Twitter, which is X now. So I still haven't gotten used to saying X. But the key thing here is that anytime you feel that tightness, any action that you take while you are closed, while you are tight in the center of your body, isn't going to work out. It's the reason why we're not finding solutions all over the planet for all the challenges and all the problems that us humans have gotten ourselves into. It's the reason why we can't seem to come to agreement on things. If you pay attention to any two sides that have come together in various ways, they're all closed. And the person that is open in the midst of that is the one who's the most inspiring, is the one that is the leader that ends up stepping up, even though they didn't want to be a leader, because there is a truth in the fact that their body is open and what they're thinking is in alignment and true. There is a truth that's coming through them that other people can feel, and they rally around it. I have women come to me all the time and talk to me about how grumpy and miserable their husbands are. And they talk about how their husbands are a real a-hole, and that they only watch and listen to podcasts and watch news that creates them being even more angry and upset. and they're upset with their husbands and they're complaining, complaint is closing, and feeling critical and judgmental of how their husbands are being. And so, in the midst of that complaint and criticism and judgment and upset and irritation, they're closed. So, in their response to their husband being really frustrated and upset with what's happening in the world, there's this tension that happens. Okay. Now, the husbands themselves are feeling hopeless and as if they can't do anything, and that the world is like sweeping them and their family along, and men's are here, they're really their core, a good man's core, and there's mostly good men out there, is protectiveness and taking care of their family. Okay. And so when they see these things in the world that they can't actually change, the recession coming or the wars that are going on or the problems with our food sources or the money that's being spent or the rights and freedoms that are being taken away and all these different things, they're upset and they bring it to us in trust, in vulnerability and trust, and it is upset. And then we feel slimed, us women. We feel like it's too much, it's too heavy. We like to be shiny and bright and happy and optimistic. And we know that those things are going on, but we kind of want to keep it out of our home because our job is to keep it beautiful. Our job is to bring lushness and openness and spaciousness and flirting and beauty and food and, taking care of the kids and making sure everybody's all of that. And it takes a lot of energy for us to stay in that place. And then husbands come in, start talking to us about what they see that's going on in the world. They're really upset about it. And we're like, the heaviness of it. We can only be with them in a little while. Sometimes we don't even agree. We may not agree with their opinions, but that's what they're seeing is still who they are, and they need to be. All of us need to be respected for how we feel about things. More than feeling, our values. We need to be respected for the values we hold. Feelings can come and go, especially for us women. I'd love to do a show on that. But what happens is that the irritation comes up, and then the husband doesn't feel heard. And then there's this gridlock that begins to happen. And then there's this place where the closing with each other, they're both irritated with each other and feeling unheard and unseen, and as if their needs aren't being met, and they shut down, and it becomes a circle. It just keeps happening over and over and over and over again with the two locked in this dance. And so women will come to me and they'll be like, I feel this way and I don't know how to get out of it. And I'm closed and I know I'm closed. I'm feeling irritated. And irritation, the prompt, if you're working with AI, there's prompts that you use to get intelligent information back from the artificial intelligent engines that are out there. Well, we have a divine intelligence within us. This internal guidance system is attached to this divine intelligence. And there's prompts that you can do to get information to come back to where this closing becomes open when you find the right information using the right prompt. And with irritation, irritation's always with a person, okay? And it's always with the thought that is at the base of it is that the person cannot or will not change. Irritation is a person, that you're always with a person, and it's a cannot and will not change. And so when you're looking at this, it can be difficult because your mind is already locked into the dance of they cannot and will not change, which is why you're feeling irritation. But your internal guidance system is giving you the tightening and the irritated feeling to wake you up to the fact that you're thinking something that's not true. And once you understand and you begin to use these prompts, you can work out anything that bothers you in your entire life. Anything. I want you to think about the power of that. Any situation that comes to you, when you know the prompts of how to feel this experience of the closing and the tightening, figure out what you're thinking, understand what that thinking prompt needs to be for you to create new thinking. And then your body opens up because you know the truth. And then you step back into the situation. And remember, I said earlier, closing begets closing and opening begets opening. When you come back into a situation and you are open and your thinking is in alignment and right, the other person begins to immediately shift and move. The reason why you're stuck in this dance is because both people are stuck in the same thinking, and someone needs to break it out. If you're here and you're listening to this, and it's you. So people are like, "Oh, Zen, how come I always have to be the one that has to, make everything right and make everything different?" Because you're here. Because you're showing up here. Because this work brought you, which means you're ready. You're smart. You're intelligent. You've got the capacity. You've got the personal development behind you. You've got the compassion. You've got the heart. You've got the desire for change to happen. I jokingly say my husband's an a-hole too, but he's my a-hole and I love him. I don't want to give up on him and I don't want to hurt him and I don't want him to feel this way. And it's my job, because I know this, to figure out my thinking so that I can come to him from a different place. It's not only my job. I'm not saying he has no responsibility, but if I'm the one who's triggered and I'm the one who's in it, then I'm the one who can solve it. And it's the most beautiful thing with the internal guidance system is because you're not at the whim of circumstance, because you're always that your experience of how you are, the closing and the opening and the feelings, the emotions that you're having all come from within the way you're thinking. It's not the other person that's making you hurt. It's the way that you're interpreting that experience that's causing the hurt. It's the way that the stories that you're making up about the different situations and things that are happening around you. It's the difference between you seeing somebody who's making $100 million a year and they're out there and they're strong and they're amazing and their mindset is great and they're coming up with incredible solutions and you're like struggling and spinning your wheels. The only difference is mindset. There's been too many people who've started with zero, gotten to, several $1 million, lost it all, gotten to zero again, started and got it all back. The only difference is mindset. Is how do I find creative solutions? How do I find things that are going to work? How do I get out of the situation that I'm in a way that's going to actually this time produce the fruit that I really want to have? And that's the difference. And you having your capacity to access that information resides within you. It's the resilience and internal fortitude. But how do you get that? You get that by listening to your internal guidance system and self course correcting when you feel this tightness inside until you find an opening. And so let's go back to the irritation prompt. So you're irritated with somebody, you're feeling like grumpy, you don't want to be around them, you don't want to be bothered, you want to avoid them, right? And what you do is you're like, wait a minute, what is it? The prompt is, since I know that I'm feeling like something cannot change, this person cannot change or won't, they refuse. That's the big one with irritation. They're just going to be that way forever, rah, rah, rah. But I'm closed. If they were going to be like that forever, you would be open. You would feel a sense of discernment and wisdom that there isn't anything that you can do, and you'd be at peace. You may not love the fact that that's who they are, but there's a peace and a knowing that there's nothing that can change. And if you think about it, there are people in your life that you have been irritated with that have caused this issue, and you just suddenly came to the acceptance of that's just how they're going to be. Maybe it was a grandfather or a neighbor that you've had constant problems. You're like, I'm give up. They're just going to be that way. And there's nothing I can do to fix it. And you can feel the knowing of that and you just go on with your life. But if you're irritated and you're triggered, what you're thinking isn't true. There is a solution that you can find. One of the ones that helps to start this is maybe it's that the grumpy person doesn't need to change at all. Maybe the safety of that person being vulnerable with you and feeling so upset and frustrated and hurt about how the world's going is what they need. Maybe it's in taking it instead of they're just complaining and grumpy and ruining my day, being negative when I want to be positive. Maybe one of the thoughts that have actually worked really well for most of the women that I've met and taught this to is they're feeling powerless and I need to have compassion. And it's in that powerlessness that I can see that they really care. And this is really hard for them. There's an opening that happens with that thought. I'm not just throwing it out there. If it opens you, then it's true. That begins a shift in the dynamic between the two spouses, because the irritation is gone and the compassion is there. There's a softening that immediately starts. From there, there's ways in which you can set opening boundaries. Now, boundaries are not ultimatums. Don't do this to me in the morning and here's the line in the sand. No, a boundary is really digging in deep and finding out what you need. And it has to open you. Most of the time, people do boundaries. They're already in a weakened state. They're already in a place of helplessness. They're already in a place where they feel like a victim. And then they want to use the boundary to control the other person to make themselves feel better. If you will do this, then I will be safe. I will feel better. That's not what a boundary is, folks. A boundary is getting really deep to what do I really need? How do I need to take care of myself? And what do I need to ask for that's opening of this other person to teach them how to care for me better? It can look something like, baby, it's too early in the morning. I understand that you need to talk about this, but first thing in the morning is too hard for me. So can we give me a time to wake up before this starts? Or, hey, here's another one. This is one of the big ones that is that boundary wise. And then you say, is that okay with you? You got to check in with the other person. I will be much happier woman if I have a little time to wake up before this hits. Okay. This feeling of you telling me the news today. It could look also like, um, I have no problem with how you feel. This, you got to check your own openings. And there's a boundary process in the Stress to Happiness program inside the membership. And I'm going to tell you more about that. The process is beautiful. It works. This is how you actually get healthy, strong, beautiful boundaries where both people feel empowered and you feel good together. But it could also look like, I totally respect how you feel, and it's fine for you to tell me how you feel, but I don't necessarily agree with how you feel. I feel differently. And we're not really good at talking about those things because you're really upset that I feel differently than you do. So either we don't talk about this or I listen, but you make it's okay if I just listen and I don't try to convince me. I have my own experiences with a different viewpoint. And I love you and I want you to have your viewpoint and I need to be able to have mine too. And let's just agree to disagree, but that doesn't mean we can't talk about it. I do want to hear. I do want you to be able to vent. I do want you to be able to share with me the things that are really upsetting you, as long as it's a thing where you're not trying to convince me to be different than I already am. Another boundary that has worked for women that have opened them, these are just different conversations I've had with coaching. Okay. Another boundary that's open women is, um, I really can't hold everything that's happening in the world. And I love that you're educating yourself on that. But can you only tell me the stuff that you really think of impacts me? Because my job is to be happy and loving and to take care of the kids and to really like stay buoyant. And I have issues, with like these kind of things scare me, they worry me, and I can't be that in that space. And it really riles me up, and I'm not really able to be my best me if you rile me up like that. So just give me the cliff notes and talk to your men friend about it because I can't do it. But my point is this: don't assume that they can't change, and don't assume that you can't come to a place where you're both at peace, because you can. And the thing that makes me know that you can is that you're closed, you're in irritation, and irritation always means that there's a solution and you just have to find it. And you found it when the way you're thinking about it opens you. An interesting thing that happens is, and it's kind of harder with the news and the stuff that's happening in the world, because a lot of the mainstream media has really worked hard to polarize the masculine and feminine to keep us from uniting, because a man and a woman united in their presence and their dream together is unstoppable. And so I believe there's been a big targeting of ripping men and women apart from and shoving stuff at us that has us believe that we're different and that we can't come together and be together, that one's trying to dominate and hurt the other consistently. So everyone's feeling protective, and it's really destroying our relationship, because the core of our strength is in our unity. And it doesn't mean that it has to be with even a romantic partner. It can be with your coworkers, male and female. It's with siblings, male and female. Okay. It's with friendships, male and female. It's with being able to be out in the world without having this irritation and this judgment and these pains against each other. If they keep us separate, then we're weaker. And it's when we get together and we learn how to communicate that our power comes in and we can protect and take care of each other and thrive together. It's really important. And it's really interesting when I listen to dialogues out there, and I try to see, where is this going to take us? Where is this going to take us in our lives if we keep this thinking going about how I'm thinking about men, or how I'm feeling of what they're being or how they're doing? Is this actually going to produce the planet that I want? And the other thing I know is that the commentary closes me. When I actually think that that's what's going on, I close, which means that's not what's going on. And it's in dropping in and finding the openings to communicate and experience each other. I don't know if you guys can hear this motorcycle or not, but there's somebody out there and driving. There's like a bunch of motorcycles riding by on their Sunday afternoon. Anyways, it's in finding the openings and communicating. That's what feminine leadership is. That's what feminine presence is. It's not in the criticism and the complaint and the kvetching and the anger. Men can't listen when we're in that space, and they shouldn't have to. We shouldn't have to listen if men's in their dominant place where they're being overbearing and crushing and trying to squash, which is the same response. We go to complaint, they go to crush. Neither of us should have to handle that. And the way through it is in finding our openings and communicating into our openings. And I want to let you know, women lead in this. Whether you like it or not, we're the vision keepers. It's our vision that creates the world. People want to go, we don't have a really whacked out view or even a completely unknown view of what feminine leadership is. Feminine leadership is we create the vision. What does that look like? That looks like we walk into our boyfriend's house and he's got a beanbag and milk crates as a coffee table and some to-go cups from 7-Eleven as his cups, maybe a couple coffee mugs, to-go mugs. He doesn't how he doesn't care about that. That's not what he's interested in getting. And we go, what would be really great, babe? Snuggle with you on the couch up next to you. And he's like, oh, couch. That sounds good. I could get couch. We'll get couch. And you know what else would be great? If we got some pots and pans so I could cook for you and maybe some dishes. And the vision starts. And then the man gets excited and he produces it. And the more happy we are and enjoy what he produces, the more fulfilled he is and the more he wants to produce again. Now, this is on a little Cosmo, right? This is in our relationship and you've seen it. Women know this. You can feel it in your bones. So then the vision goes into, here's what I could see for our children. Here's what I can see for our community. It's causing me so much pain, honey, that our education system is going in this way and our kids are coming home and they're not able to read and I don't understand and I need help figuring out what's going on. We need to do something different. Or the water supply in our town, it's being polluted by this company and I need your support. We need to figure out how it's breaking my heart that we don't have clean water for our babies. And it goes on and on and on. And we look into the world as women, and one of the things that's really different between the male and female brain is we have a diffuse awareness where we're able to see all the multiple parts at once, and we're able to have our vision incorporate the many. Well, if we do this, then our neighbors is going to not have what they need, and so we need to make sure that in this vision we've got our neighbors are going to have what they need, and then our cousin and grandma and grandpa is going to need to be involved, and we've got to make sure that the school system's got and we expand. Where men have a tendency to be like single focused. Alison Armstrong, I love it because she's like, men are like, hunt the deer, hunt the deer, hunt the deer. They're focus, 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 and we're diffuse. But in that focus, we bring our vision into, this is what we need to be focused on. This is what's important. And then what nourishes a man is our feminine presence and our joy. What nourishes a man is being satisfied and happy and excited about what he's helping us do and being a part of helping us grow. And so this is the dance that we're in. If you really want to drop into your feminine presence, drop in and look at what needs to be produced and created to create joy and health and harmony and happiness in the world around you. And then begin speaking what you see needs to happen from a place of being open. There's a lushness to our openness, and there's a truth to it that rallies others. And it will be produced when you start speaking of it from a place of being open and like a vision. It's contagious. It's intoxicating when we do this, especially when we really drop into our bones and we're connected to our divine presence and we're listening deeply to why we're here and what we're needing to produce. And then we begin sharing it and then we begin creating it to be created. And then the men jump on board. Pay attention to your relationship. Notice. Complaint's the exact opposite. Complaint is where we come when women get into complaint, it's opposite of vision and it begins tearing apart the world around us. When women get into complaint and irritation and upset, we destroy, we demasculate. It's when men want to hide from us. They don't know how to handle it. They can't make us happy. They can't produce anything. There's nothing they can, they'll try to fix our complaint, which is often where we've got this whole dynamic where men try to fix us. And it's because we're in complaint and that's their job. They want to produce, but they can't if we're not happy and we're not taking responsibility for our happiness. And so they back away. It has to come from vision. If you're in complaint, what is it that you do want? How do you want it to be instead? What would make it better than that? And not from a selfish place. You have to, that's the big thing. You'll see this. It's interesting with our younger women. I've seen quite a few things, not all. I'm just saying there's a few younger women out there who are just about me, mine, mine, mine. It is, the men are like, don't want anything to do with that one. Because there's a dance, there's a dynamic, divine dance between the masculine and feminine in how things get produced. And it's not just about, I want a man who makes $1 million and can buy me whatever I want. And that's all I see in a man. That's not what it's about. My mom used to say, men marry women who make them a better man. Not because we're trying to, but because they rise to the occasion, wanting to be a better man in order to match the vibrancy and the exquisiteness of the woman they found that they loved. So they will just like, I've got to be a better man to be able to even be able to be with this person. I have to change who I am in order to even be with a woman like this. And that's the dance. And we can have it in the corporate world. We can have it in our politics. We can have it everywhere. It's from the women's beingness and their divine essence of creating the vision, the true vision that's going to create the change. And that comes from the openness. And so to bring that right back around to that irritation moment with your spouse, it starts there. How do I want this to be instead? For him and me, for all of us. And what would make it even better than that? And you play with that thought that this person in your life can't change. And you play with it and you play with it. What if he could be like this? What if it could be like this? What if it didn't bother me so much? What if it was this? And as you're playing with the what ifs and coming up with that exquisite vision and feeling into it, like you'll feel when you hit it, this expansion. It when it really comes through, it's almost like being breathed and there's like a knowing and there's like a preciousness. And then you know that it's right. The discernment and the wisdom is there. And from that, you know that you can speak to it in a way that where you can be heard and the conversation will nourish him. So it doesn't look like, you can't talk to me in the morning about this stuff because it just ruins my day and I get so mad. No, it's like, gosh, honey, I can't. I'm just as hurt as you are. And I just go, oh, it takes away my light. It takes away my feeling safe. I can't handle it this early in the morning. Can we take a break on you sharing with me everything that you're finding on your iPhone first thing in the morning as you're looking through your news feeds? Because it's just too much for me in the morning. And I could appreciate how hard it is to you to see what's going on in the world that's so hard. If this resonates with you, keep coming back for more. And I want you to know that every single thing in your life that hits you, I don't care if it's grief, health challenges, fear, frustration with where you are in life, or who you're being in your life. I know I've talked to a lot of women we're in our 50s right now, and it's like we're just kind of sick of our own stuff. We're sick of our own shtick. We're tired of like, why can't we do it a little bit different? Why am I stuck in this place? And that feeling, what do you do with that? Well, I want you to know that that system that I'm teaching you, right? When it's closed like that, there is an answer, there is a solution, always. And there's prompts of things that when this happens, you do this. Okay? When this happens, you do this. If you're feeling Guilt, this is the prompt. If you're feeling mistrust, this is the prompt. If you're feeling lack, like you're not going to have enough and you're unsafe in your finances, this is the prompt. And you can go test those out, the 14 best prompts that I could put together in a 14-day program for free at befearfreenow.com. Befearfreenow.com. I have a membership, a monthly membership, super affordable, where I will coach you and also give you all the prompts you need to move through these challenges that you have so that no matter what hits you, you will be able to go, this is what I'm dealing with. This is what I do. And it works. So we didn't have anybody come on today for coaching. I hope you enjoyed what I've said. Remember, the prompt for irritation is this person, my mind believes that this person cannot or will not change, and that is a lie. That is not true. What is it exactly that I think won't change? And it can. So let's start looking at what could be true. Well, how do I want it to be instead? And what would make it better than that until you feel the irritation leave you? And then you know you found the answer. And play with it with the people you love the most, because this is the fastest way to get back into intimacy and connection is by doing this piece of work when you're irritated. Your kids, when they're irritating you, what do I believe in this moment with my child cannot change or will not change? Okay. Frustration is the same thing, except it's a situation. What situation do you believe cannot or will not change? I'm always going to be in this place of not having enough money, or I'm always going to be in this place where I'm not taking care of myself. Carrie, if you are in on YouTube, then you have to go back to the members area. I've got a comment here, and there's the link to watch, and then there is the restream link to be coached. There's a paragraph that says to watch, and then it says to be coached. I'll give you a second to dive in there in the members area and click that second link. In fact, you know what I'll do? Hold on. I think I might even be able to put it in the YouTube channel. Let me copy this. There you go. I can do that, and then you guys can come on. I generally don't do that a lot, but maybe for the first few ones, click on that and come on in, and Carrie, I'll support you. All right. And so this is the key, is knowing the prompts and being able to shift into what you're doing. I'm going to wait for Carrie Sky, because Carrie hasn't been able to be coached, and you've kind of been here a little bit. So if Carrie jumps on, I'll get her first real quick. Let's see. It obviously does work though, so that's great. Thanks, Sky. I can see you're on. Carrie, can you click on it? If not, I will take Sky before you. All right, Sky, I guess you're up. Carrie's not clicking on the link.
Poor
Hi.
woman.
I
I
know,
feel
you're
her
on here.
her pain, her frustration. Yeah, it's in the chat, Carrie,
Go
where
ahead,
you
Sky.
wrote your message.
Let's just focus on coaching. Go ahead. Thanks, Sky.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
There she is. Go ahead.
So I'm frustrated with my partner a lot. So I'm glad you're talking about this, and I'll have to watch it again. But there are times when I feel like he's rude, and I don't know how to get my message across that I don't want to be spoken to the way he speaks to me.
Well, here's the thing. You don't really have a choice. You can either the first step is to accept that that's how he's going to talk to you, that you can't change him. That sucks. It's not something you want to hear, but hold that thought. You can't change him. He's going to have to make the decision to make that switch on his own, and it can't come from you as far as like demanding it, right?
Mhm.
Can you feel the opening on that? It's just the way it is. Now, you can decide, this is important. You can decide whether you're going to stay or not. And it's a really crucial thing to sit down and go, okay, if he were to talk to me like this for the rest of our lives, would I stay? Would it be worth staying? And really go there. Don't do the surface level. I'm going to break up with him because I'm really mad and everything's miserable and blah, blah, blah. No, that's just kvetching, bitching, moaning, groaning. That's just your stress defense kicking in about, I'm going to leave, take my toys and leave. No, you got to sit down and you got to go, okay, this is who he is. Is there enough other things going on in this relationship that makes it worth me staying? Really, really put yourself through leaving, not seeing him anymore, not having communication, not having him in your life. Because it's when you get to the place where you actually go, no, I actually do love him and I don't want to be without him. And if this is part of it, then I'm going to be okay with that. I don't like it, but I don't want to leave him either. This is when it comes down to he's an a-hole, but he's my a-hole and I love him. I love him.
Interesting.
And I don't want another one because I'm going to tell you, almost all of them out there are, especially right now, because it's rough. It's a rough world for men.
It is.
It's rough. They have a lot going on. They're picked on, they're torn apart. Half the population won't even acknowledge them or thinks they're jerks and treats them as if they are before they've even met them. It's hard work out there. It's hard to get ahead. You're blamed for everything. Being a man is hard. If it was as hard for us, we would be just as much of an a-hole. And part of it is we have somebody protecting us from all that, which is our men. There is a buffer. There is a sense of safety. No one's going to come kick down my door. My husband's here. He will kill him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he will.
Yeah. Yeah, he
Flat
would.
out. If somebody hurts my kid, I have somebody who I know will take care of my family, our family. So you have to get to a place when you're dealing with a relationship where you're absolutely positively certain, and then you shut up about that. You don't go there anymore. And then from there, or you say, no, it's not. I'm in the wrong place. I'm hanging on because it's easy, or I don't have enough money to be separate, or whatever the thing is. It's like, no, if this was different, I wouldn't be with this person. You need to know that because then you start working of like fixing, how do I get out of this? This isn't right. If it's not right for you, it's not right for him. And it should open you that it's not right for you. It should be opening. But if every time you're looking at closing and every time you look at leaving, you're closed, and when you really get down to it, you're like, I don't want to be without. That's when then you know, and you drop into putting in the work. Then you start working. You're like, no, I want to be in this, and it isn't good right now. What is it that I need to do to figure this out with him? And then you go to him and you go, I want to be with you, and you're open. And there's some stuff that's not working, and I love you, and I want to be with you. So will you help figure this out? I don't like the way we talk to each other. And I don't like that we're not kind. The world is so mean out there. We don't need that in here. I get I'm doing stuff that irritates you. I'm willing to change. But be nice in your telling me. Be fair. Do you see the difference? If he is being rude to you, there is a reason. It doesn't necessarily mean it has to do with you. Part of it could be, honey, you can't bring that stuff home. You need to shift your state when you get home. You figure out what you need to do before you come to me and give me a kiss and say hi, baby, to shift to us from that big, bad, horrible world out there. If you need to come and tell me how bad it's been and then go shift, okay. But you can't take it out on me. And it's just the way it is that we take our shit out on each other. So I tried so hard not to say the S word, but I had to, guess.
It's okay.
Anyways, yeah, well, I try. It's like a show. But the thing is we try so hard not, we we give our worst to the people we love the most because they'll put up with it because they love us and we don't have anywhere else to put it. But it's just because that's a habit that we've gotten into in our society doesn't mean it's okay. You got to give each other your best. And that's not easy. That means when you've had a really bad day, you come in and you're like, and you're like, it's not you. I just want to let you know it's not you. I've had a really bad day. I love you, but I'm really upset. Not just come in and start bitching and complaining about why haven't you done this and what about that? And we can do that. I thought you said you're going to get this done today. Well, you did it. Like, mm, can't do that to each other. And then the last piece I want to say is once you know you want to be with the person and you're willing to work and you've got the tools because you're using your internal guidance system and it's just going to get better and better as you keep going through stress to happiness, and then you're going to go into emotion, creating emotional authenticity, and then you're going to go into relationship as a spiritual path, and you're going to get all the prompts. By the end of this year of being in this membership, you guys will be fine. You'll have all the tools you need to work on it, and then you've got my coaching. Okay? Because you can get there. But the thing is things don't change overnight.
No.
And so once you know you're committed and you know you really want to work on it and you're coming at it with an opening, then you give yourself 6 months to a year. I never come to my husband upset about something expecting that it's going to be different this week. I expect there to be an incremental tiny bit shift. I expect there to be a noticing that it's different and being excited about that. But I don't expect that we're going to be able to figure it out in less than 6 months. And then in 6 months, if it's still as bad as it was on day one, there's a whole nother conversation to be had. But it's never been that way because he loves me just as much as I love him, and he doesn't want me to go anywhere either. So he'll figure it out. And I've found that I you don't need to have your partner use their internal guidance system. You using it, you'll come into it with an opening and they'll match your opening over and over and over again because your communication will be clean and your desires and your requests will be clean because you're open and you'll have already worked through your stuff before you get to him. And so he'll have a chance to like look at how you're shifting and then reflect back to you him shifting and you'll march in step together. Maybe a little bit like this, but you'll still be in step together.
Lately, he's angry without my being angry. He just lashes out about when we're discussing the priorities, and I'm asking, well, why are you angry? I'm not mad, but
Okay, so
he
there
just
there's a
has no
really good
patience.
program. Yeah, that's okay. Is that
It's the
okay?
one called Understanding Men. Is that the program?
Definitely do it. It's affordable. You can rent it. She does like a rental thing where it's like, I don't know how much it is, and I know you're tight on money, but there's a practice in there. It's men are like wells. It's listening. And I hate to share her work, but I definitely want to let people know to go take Allison Armstrong's work, Understanding Men. It's profound. If I had to only do 5 courses my whole life, that class would be one of them. Like if I could only have to go back in every course I've ever taken and go, I can pick five. I think that would probably be number one.
Wow.
So,
I'm certainly interested.
so what happened? This is the thing though. We interrupt men all the time. Men don't, when you ask a man to do something, like tell me something, right? It's like you say, what do you think about X? And you have to let him think and you have to shut up and not say a word. And he will think and it will be silent. And you'll feel like it's really weird because you're a woman and you'll just start telling and you know how you think and feel and he doesn't. He has to go there. He has to actually stop. Now he does know if you let him, he'll go there. And you can't say a word and it looks like this. He'll be like, "Well, huh. I think that I also think," and that may happen for 5 minutes and he'll see quiet. And at the very end, he'll say something like, and you can't say a word. If you say anything, he'll respond to what you are. So if you go, well, that's interesting. I never would have thought you'll stop him going in deep. And he'll be like, she interrupted me. That's, I guess she's happy she got enough, but you didn't get to what's really important. And you cannot make a face and you cannot judge him and you have to respect whatever it is he feels. You cannot be mad at him for how he feels. You have to take it as this is how he feels. And now I need to go away and figure out how I feel about how he feels and get open if it closed you and then come back and have a deep conversation. But at the very end, he'll go, that's it. That's how I feel. Or I'm done. Or I don't have anything else. He'll literally say that. And then you'll actually get the core of your man. So what I would recommend is you, when it's a good time, you're both relaxed and you go, look, honey, I'm going to ask you something. And I don't want, I want you to be really honest. And I promise I won't get mad at you. What are you so angry about with these houses? I really want to know what you're thinking. Use the word thinking. And he may go, you know what I think. No, I'm serious. And you shut up and be like, oh, she really wants to know. She's actually listening. And he'll go, and then you have something to work with because you're not working on surface BS of just you two fighting. You'll actually know what you need to work on. But until you do that, you don't even know what he's mad at. In that deep rabbit hole, you may discover something that even he doesn't realize he's really angry about. It may get in that rabbit hole where he's like, it's not about you. I'm just realizing it isn't about the houses. I can't stand where I am in my life. I feel like a failure. You don't know, but that's how you get there. And definitely take the course. And that's Allison Armstrong, everybody. That wasn't a Zen thing. Okay.
Mhm. You know what
I'm
I've
gonna
observed?
I'm
Oh,
gonna go on
sorry,
to
what?
Carrie here, but we're
Oh,
gonna wrap it
okay.
up. Tell me what you've observed, and then I've got two other people.
Yeah, I'll just say one point. Both my partner and my coworker, who are men, if they're telling me a story, if I so much as ask a question, they say, "You're interrupting."
Yeah, because you are.
Yeah. Whereas
They're not. They're
as a
not. They're not.
woman,
Yeah,
I'm not like that. We're
I
not the
know.
same. Yeah.
You're not the same.
No.
We're not the same. No, and women are like, well, why isn't there a class for men for women? Well, there is. Okay, and it's brilliant, and I learned a lot about myself in watching her class about women. But they don't need a class on women. They know who we are. We need to learn about them because we got them all wrong. We're treating them like a woman. We're trying to act, we want them to act like us, but they're not us. They have testosterone. They're completely different. They know we're crazy. They know we're not like each other. You ask a man, you go like, men and women are different. They're like, yeah, we are. We know. We know you are not us. But we don't. We don't. We talk to them and we're like, oh, but why aren't you crying? Because I'm crying. They're like, because I'm a man. I don't treat, it's totally, so until you get the information where you actually know the differences and you start treating them like a man, you won't be happy because you want them to be like a woman and they can't. And not only that, but you want them to be like the best version of yourself, how you would act in this moment if you were absolutely perfect. We don't even act that way. We want them to
True.
respond to us like, well, you should be getting me candy and flowers and taking me out to dinner right now. If you knew how I felt, that's exactly what I would do if I was me and I was dating me. No, it's not. You're not. You're not dating you. You're dating him. And he's unique and precious in his own right and special and important and deserves to be known just as much as you do. All right.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Okay. Bye, hun. And now we got Carrie and then Allison. Hi, Carrie.
Hi,
Hi.
hi, Zan. It's interesting. I had a closing when you were talking about. I mean, over kind of over the course of your before you were coaching today, talking about relationships and men and women and all that. And the closing was my thought was, God, if I'd only been doing this work with Zen earlier in my marriage, I wouldn't have had to divorce my husband. So anyway, I'm
And that
divorcing.
closed you.
It closed me.
So
So
maybe, so that's not true.
it's not
Yeah.
true. It's not true. Yeah. So I was closed and had many closings for 8 years, and then I um, was in California and had this complete opening. Like I do need to. I do need to leave. I do need to leave. You know.
Hmm.
So that was last August, and now um, we're we're divorcing, and I've been struggling with. So just to make a long story short, I don't have much income because I have long COVID. I can't work in my job as a nurse anymore, and I'm not completely healed. I'm getting there, but I'm really really short on funds, um, and and there's a roof loan for the roof on our house,
Hmm.
which is now his house, that is in my name because his credit score wasn't good enough to take a loan out. So I did.
Okay.
And so he's still paying it, but in the last 6 months, his payments have been returned for lack of funds 3 times. And um, I'm completely open. I have opened to knowing that I need to do something to to try to get out of that loan or get it paid off or something,
Okay.
because
What's the amount?
it's $10,000.
Okay.
Yeah. And I spoke with them um and said, is there a way that we can, transfer the loan to his name? They said no. um so I'm just wondering, a friend of mine who's also on this program said, ask Zen. So I'm asking you if you know anything about how I could work with this.
Okay. Yeah. So what's the monthly payment on it?
It's $137
Okay.
or 167 or something like that. It's
So
less than.
that's totally doable. So what happened in the divorce with the house?
Well, the divorce isn't finished yet.
Okay.
Um, I'm not on the. We were married for 8 years. I live in Oregon, which is a non-community state for houses. I don't get half the value of the house. I should be getting half the value of how much the house increased in
While you're
value
together.
over the 8 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you, I know you don't have a lot, but $167 is not enough to ruin your credit over. So you should be paying it yourself. Okay. Now I want you to sit with that for a second because it's in the closing where we think we can't do something. That means
Mhm.
it's not true. It's not true, right?
Okay.
And as soon as we decide something like that we can't do it, we can't.
Well, I don't fucking want to do it
I
because it's
know,
his
but it's
roof.
hold on. See, feel that. Yeah, feel
I
that.
know.
Right? Feel all that. Yeah.
Sorry for
So
my language.
that's okay. It's okay. But here's the deal. It's
Okay.
your credit.
I know. And
Okay.
I've,
And
I've
so,
got to protect it.
yeah, and it's not that much money. Thank God it's not $800 a month.
Right.
Okay. It is a doable amount. Okay. So the key is get yourself paying that off and keep track of it and
Okay.
come up with an agreement that that additional money, when the house sells, will come back to you.
Okay. I'm just
That
taking a note. I'm just taking a
you're
note.
gonna, and you got to check your own openings, right? But that I would say, look, you're not making this, my credit's getting hurt. I appreciate that you have tried and you have not had the funds. You have tried to make the payments and you haven't had the funds, and it's tough on both of us right now. I'm gonna figure out exactly as much as you could kick in to help me with this payment each month. that would be great. If you can do 50 bucks, if you can do 60 bucks, I need whatever you can give me. I'm going to make this so I don't hurt my credit. It won't do us any good to have my credit destroyed from this. And you make those payments.
Okay.
Okay. Then what I would say is you say, look, can we have a quick little writing email that says that since I'm paying off this roof, that money comes back to me, whatever I put in, since you're in the house.
So it would be like
And
an email agreement.
yeah,
Is
just
that
something simple. It's just something simple. So that way you give it to your attorney and put it in with the divorce, like, so it's just funds that need to be taken out of the amount and you get paid back. Okay.
oh,
So that helps, right? Then the other
yeah,
thing is don't let long COVID be an excuse for you not to make money.
yeah. I am working. It's just part-time.
Great. But there's all kinds of ways money could come to you. Magic money happens all the time.
Mm,
It doesn't have to come from your labor.
okay.
You'd be shocked. Open yourself up to magic money. Open yourself up to someone giving you $500. Open yourself up to all of a sudden you stumble across this book and you're like, wow, this book is really rare and I didn't even know it. There's 1,500 bucks. Like, I don't know. I had this great, I love this story. So there's this guy, I wish collect these stories and I don't know that I'm going to use them in the future and I don't like grab them to find proof of it. But there was this guy, you could probably look it up. I think it was an emerald or a ruby, but he was a rock hound and he had a ranch and he would go out to on vacation and he'd pick up rocks in different places all over the country. And he got this big giant rock and he brought it home and he never cut it open and he used it as a doorstop in his barn. Okay. And
I know
so,
where you're going with this.
and he the whole time is sitting there and he kicked it and he moved it around with his foot and all that. And then finally one day he's super old and he's like, I wonder what's in that damn rock. And he opens up the rock. It was like the largest ruby or emerald that was perfect ever found. It was worth millions of dollars. And he had this whole time for like 20 years, he'd been using it and kicking it between his door just to hold his damn door open for the whole time. So I was like, man, this was years ago when I was going through the business stuff. It's like, and I wasn't getting paid. I was a CEO, but all the money was going back into the business to pay off the debt and all that. I was like, dang it. I want a doorstop. I know. And I was like, I know I have a doorstop around me somewhere. And I had an old URL, CNP. It's very hard to find 3-letter URLs because back in the day they went like that. Okay. B of A, right? So it's
Right.
that kind of thing, right? It's like, IMG. It's like it's the letters of the companies. So I went and did a search for CNP and I found California Natural Products and they paid me $20,000 for that URL and it kept me going for 4 months
Wow.
financially. That
Uh-huh.
was one of and I have called forth the doorstop money so many times in my life. It has to open you. Okay.
Right.
But there's plenty of ways that money can come to you. You'd be shocked. I know a woman who was I don't know any of this stuff because I'm just not that way, but she was in a secondhand store and found a Chanel bag and sold it for $28,000 online. She buffed it up and cleaned it up and she found it in she's like, this can't be. This is a Chanel bag. It's a vintage 1968 Chanel bag. And she just put it online at auction, got this tons of money, and she bought it for like $8.
Wow.
Okay, so stop limiting your mindset.
Okay, yeah. I mean, and just
And
FYI, just FYI, this issue of money and what's the word? The thinking that I will never have enough money, that I'm always going to struggle. That's one of my stress themes, I think, because
okay,
I've always had it. And growing up, I watched my mom struggle and cry when she was trying to pay the bills. I think that's where it comes from. But
of course, it all comes
so,
from our childhood, but
yeah,
the prompt for that.
well, I'm closed, and what I'm thinking is either not true or not going to happen.
The prompt is, I
Okay.
always have what I need before I need it. Say it right
Oh,
now.
oh, I always have what I need before I need it.
Feel it.
But
Feel it. It's in
uh,
the feeling that the brain changes. You have to let you have to
it's like I still
look at
don't,
the resistance. I know. Look at the
I still
resistance
don't
to
believe
eat.
it.
I know, but look at the resistance. That's a
Yeah.
choice. That's a choice. You won't even say it
Okay.
and feel it.
Okay. I always have what I need before I need it. Is that what the prompt is?
Say it again. Close your eyes. Say it. Hold it in your head. I always have what I need before I need it.
I always have what I need before I need it.
Do
Okay.
you feel the shift?
Yeah.
Because it's true.
Right. And I'm feeling open, and so
You're
I know that's true.
it's true. And now that actual moment just started to shift the awareness to that instead of what your mother instilled in you. That's the moment of the new neural pathway. So
Okay.
you have to do it over and over. These neural pathways didn't get built from you seeing your
Right.
mom cry one time. So every time you're at the gas station and you go, $85. Ugh, I always have what I need before I need it. I'm not going there. I'm not going to do that
Right.
because I just, I always have what I need before I need it.
Okay.
And you go on to and you the unexpected bill comes in and you look at it. I always have what I need before I need it. What will happen? And you take the time for the opening. That's the
Oh.
key.
Oh, right.
It's not some
Okay.
false thought. You actually have to do the body awareness piece because that's what reprograms the neural pathways.
Okay. So when I know that I'm closed about believing, or the thought is that I'm not ever going to have what I need, then the, what did
Did
you call it?
I always the prompt?
The prompt is I always have what I need before I need it.
Yes.
Okay.
And
And then I need to find my openings around it. And
you
that's
feel
what
it.
I,
Feel it. Just feel the opening for that from that one prompt. And if you actually go back and you look at your life, and this is something that you could do if you want to reinforce it to do the extra work. You don't have to, but if you want to, you have always had what you needed before you needed it.
more or
Are you?
less.
Yeah. Now you may not have had there may be something that you really wanted that you didn't get, but that doesn't mean that you haven't had what you needed before you need it.
Right. I mean, I've never ended up on the street.
No. And you're dressed and you have food and your
Mm-hmm.
skin looks beautiful. I can tell you're not dying, you've got, and overall the people in your life are good.
Mm-hmm.
And as you actually go through, it's not even just finances. There's other things you're getting that you need every day that before you need them.
Mm-hmm.
And if you actually start saying that, you're going to start noticing, huh, very interesting. This whole thing just came in and now I need that over here. Someone gave me that last year and now I need it over there. I already had that. It's in my garage. I know where that is.
Right.
And then you'll start noticing that you become somebody that has something to somebody else. Somebody will be like, God, I really need this thing and I don't have it. And oh, you know what? I have one. I don't even want it. You can have it.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll see, because when we're focused on not having what we need, being afraid of not
Yeah.
having it,
Yeah.
that's all we can see is the fear of not having it. But
It's
when you
true.
start expanding it into, I always have what I need before I need it, all of a sudden you're going to start noticing it's everywhere. It's the reality of this world when we open ourselves to the experience of it.
Okay.
It's wild. It gets really crazy wild. I mean, okay, I bought a car and I didn't need it. I opened, my friend was selling a car on like Instagram. She's like, I'm going to South America and I'm getting rid of my car. And it was a super cute car and I didn't need it. But I was like, ooh, I wish I had a need for that. I would buy it. And I opened like I was supposed to buy it. I bought the car. Felt like a nut job. I don't have 20 grand to just spend on nothing. I thought, okay, well, maybe the kid that's our guardian, that we were guardianship of, she's going to drive it. And my car started burning oil bad, like a quart a week. So I take it to the dealership and they're like, you need a new engine. But here's the interesting thing. My husband, I was like, my husband was flying down to pick up the new car in California. And on the way to the airport, he dropped off the Audi and took their shuttle to the airport, went down and picked up the car and drove back up to us in Idaho. And then they told me that I needed a new engine. It took 4 months to get that engine. I had no car for 4 months. Nope, not true. Because my husband and I had bought a car that we didn't need for no
Yeah.
reason at all because I opened.
Uh-huh.
Then the Audi came back, my car, and our Tahoe broke down. And we still needed that dang car. And tomorrow we're picking up that Tahoe and getting fixed. The whole dash component,
Tomorrow.
all the stuff went out. Tomorrow we're picking it up. We got this car a year ago, and in that year we've needed it the whole time.
That's amazing. I love it.
So you're
Yeah.
gonna know, yeah. So stay with that one, okay? And you'll see the proof of it if you let yourself.
Okay.
Don't hang on to don't fight for your closings. Yeah, but
O-
it's really, I can't stop thinking this. Yes, you can. You can,
Okay.
and you
Okay.
will.
Okay.
Okay.
All
Okay, good. And
right.
remember, find your doorstop, magic money. You're going to be fine. Take over that bill and stop thinking. Don't be mad about it. Be happy that it's so
Yeah.
little and that you can totally
Yeah.
do it and your credit's fine and it's a gift for him and it's all going to work out because it's like tithing into the future. You're being a kind, loving, beautiful woman and it's all going to work out.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you, Zen.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Bye for
All
now.
right. Bye for now. And then we're going to go to Allison. Hey, Allison. Hi, sweetheart. Hi,
Hi, Zen. How
how
are
are
you?
you? I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Yeah. No,
Good.
actually, the issue I'm bringing today is about anger. I'm feeling a lot of anger. Tim, my husband with lung cancer, is going to start seeing a new practitioner. First appointment on Tuesday. We're excited about that. Integrative medicine
Good.
doctor that's local, and so they need all the documentation that has been collected thus far since his journey began last year. And looking at the dates, because I'm putting the dates at the beginning of each file, and I'm getting a blast of all these appointments and what happened when, and I'm seeing all these delays, delays. And if he had gotten the surgery when we were told, oh, you can get it by the end of September of last year, he would be cancer free now. But everything was delayed to the point, all this testing, and oh, you had to wait 3 weeks for this and 2 weeks for that, and just along the whole way. He's had 2 surgeries that had to be aborted because the cancer had grown. This is a very aggressive tumor, and it's like only one doctor of all the doctors we've seen have seemed to have an urgency, a sense of urgency. That's how it seems. That's how it appears. And
Does that
I
open
think
you?
they thought,
Just sit
yes.
for a second. You got it. This is really important. Anger is really important because anger is an emotion and it's not your internal guidance system. And in the midst of your anger, you'll have openings and closings.
Okay.
And so as you're holding the thought that
There
if
wasn't a
it
sense of urgency in all of the people we worked with.
it opens you.
It opens me.
Okay. Now you want to
I
hang on
think
to
there
that.
is now. I think there is
Yeah,
now.
of
But
course. Yeah.
yeah, now that he
So
has stage 3, he started off stage 1, now he's
I
stage 3.
yeah.
So,
So the key is this. First of all, we've got a collapsing of two things. One is you're going through all of this and you're angry at the
mhm,
way that the treatment has gone. There's another one of grief, and you're in a stage of grief with being angry at the possibility of him dying.
mhm,
Okay. So you want to make sure you handle them separately, two different tracks.
okay.
Okay. Because one is getting very clear on having conversations with doctors about what's happened and what you will not put up with anymore and how are we going to alleviate this. Okay. And then two is dealing with how your experience is with your relationship being in this position where you love someone deeply and they've got stage 3 cancer. Do you understand? You don't want to
Mhm.
collapse them together. So think of them as two different sets of angers
Okay, I can do that. I'll at least try to,
because you need clarity
make
on
the
both.
distinction.
You need
Yes.
clarity. Yeah, because
Yeah.
because anger is very healing. Okay. It can be a very healing, powerful thing that gets this tension and this experience out as long as you're open. It will be cathartic. See what I'm saying?
Mhm.
If you're closed, it'll be destructive for your body in the inside, but also for whatever actions you take in the outside world. Because you certainly don't want to be angry at the whole system as you're going into this new process with your new doctors and the
Yeah.
doctors who are being urgent now and all of that, right? Because you got to keep it clear.
Yeah.
The other thing is that you can communicate anger to anyone. If you're open, they can hear you
Mm.
because you're speaking truth. And they will take you seriously, and you won't be poo-pooed or set aside or dismissed or ignored because they don't want to deal with you. If you come at them with closing anger, you will be ignored, you will be set aside, you will be discounted, they will protect themselves from you. Okay. Opening anger rallies people to your side. There's a righteousness in it that's important. Do you understand the difference? Can you feel what I'm
Yeah.
trying to say?
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of assumptions you're going to make about what could have happened. Delays, I went through cancer, you know that.
Mhm.
I had a hard time with the delays too, because, but there's a lot of people going through cancer, and it can be very hard to pull that surgery room together. And I am not saying that the delays aren't justified, that you're not justified in being upset. You have to go through your IGS to see, were they just being lazy? Were they just not paying attention? Were they just not thinking this was important enough? You'll open at all those thoughts if it's true. That'll open you. And it doesn't feel like the same kind of anger as closing anger where you're just bitter and pissed off, and it's not true, and you're in this hole of right. It's just so different, sweetheart. That's what I want to make sure you know. And you need to be clear on what part is it is true and what part of it is not true. There will be peace in the anger if what you're thinking is true, and then you'll
I've
be
been
heard.
so in my head, although feeling the anger, but not, it's like I couldn't detect closings versus openings. Like I was in the shower, my hair's wet. And I was just, I was totally not in touch with my IGS at all.
So then there's the last piece. Anger is an emotion, and you have to feel it. But that doesn't mean you get wrapped up in your thinking without doing the IGS process before you act. So be angry. Okay. You're a woman, which means you need to be angry with a lot of different people. What I mean by that is you have to tell your husband and then go to the next person. I have to share with you why I'm so angry. This is it's going to take you, because the more you talk through this, the more your serotonin levels are going to come back up. And you're going to be able to get to a place where you can actually take positive action that's empowering and will actually support the situation being worked out.
Mm.
So if you have to talk to 6 different friends, relatives, people, or 3 people, but 2 of them are women, one's your husband, you can go through the story twice, and then you have to leave them alone because they can't take it.
Yeah.
And then you go to your woman friend and you talk to her, and then when she's like, I got it, and she's like, okay, I gotta go make dinner, and then you go to your next woman friend, and I'm gonna call so and so because I just need to get this out. And then you'll calm down and you'll be able to use the IGS more. You'll have worked through some of the anger. You'll be able to process it properly. And then you can go through and see where you're making assumptions about his care and where where it was actually not done to the standard that it should have been. You'll be very clear on that. You can write out what the standard should have been. You can communicate that well with the rest of the caregivers. You can start taking action, and you can take the people who are being urgent now, and you can not take out your anger on them, because you'll be clear. And they'll be like, you have a right to be mad because you did what you needed to do properly to move through this.
Wow. That
So
makes so
start by
much sense.
feeling it. And I'm so sorry,
Okay.
honey. But you're allowed to be angry, and you're allowed to feel this for many different reasons, not just going through the care.
Anger has been one of those emotions I tend to stay away from. Kind of wasn't safe, as a kid to
Well,
express that.
we didn't get taught.
Yeah.
I just
Yeah.
taught you how,
Yeah, that's amazing. Wow, in
right?
just like 5 minutes or whatever, 10 minutes. That's great.
Yeah. So that's how you handle
Oh,
it.
okay.
Okay. You feel it without destruction, and you work through it, and then you come back and you look at, what am I really angry about that's true, and what am I angry about, because there's stuff in there that it's not true, that you'll go, this should have happened faster, and you'll close, and you'll realize it couldn't have, and your divine intelligence knows it's connected to something bigger than us. Then there'll be things where you'll open and you're like, they just dropped the ball. And it happens. It's a
Yeah.
big system, and then there might be places in there where you're like, and we were kind of grateful. We didn't want to move forward. We weren't ready. We were also stuck. Me and Tim were stuck in like, okay, well, I'm glad we're not doing the surgery this week. Not thinking that we should have been pushing harder on it. There's takes two, and we didn't know. We didn't know that it was going to move this fast. We didn't know that it was going to get that we should have pushed harder for that surgery. We thought it was this testing or medication or this whatever. You'll see that it's a yes and and that's important to do too, because you don't want to keep doing that moving forward.
Yeah. That's for sure. Okay. Wow. That's amazingly helpful.
Good.
I will listen again. I will look at the transcription and print it out, copy it, print it out, and
Okay.
and review it. And yeah, that's a great process you've described. Thank you.
Okay, good, good. And thanks for coming on the call and sharing that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Anything
Appreciate it.
else? You're welcome.
No, that's it. That's it. Yeah. You don't want to hear the whole story. I mean, it's, I don't need to go through the whole story. I think that process sounds amazing. So
Okay, good. I love you. Hang in there.
love you too. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. That is it for today. The next call we have is Wednesday at 12:30, I think. Um, please go check out BeFearFreeNow.com and check it out. There's two memberships. One's $47 and one's $97. They're laid out there. You can join for free for 14 days, and I give you the 14-day fear-free mind experience, which is amazing. You'll love it. And it gives you 14 prompts, the biggest ones that are the ones that are easiest to grab onto. And if you are not liking it, cancel in those first 14 days, and you don't pay the $47 a month. I ask that you do cancel before it's up, because it hurts our business credit to have to give refunds for people, and you're an adult, you should be able to cancel. But at least check it out. Go through the first 5 or 6 days. If you don't feel a dramatic difference, then cancel. But I can tell you right now, you're going to feel like empowered as you've not been empowered. You're going to start realizing you have complete ability to shift this inner experience with just understanding how to work with your thinking. The closing is simply guidance that you need to change what you're thinking. And then the prompts show you how to do that in a way where you can get open and be back on track. So there isn't any reason to at least go do the first 14 days. And then hopefully you'll decide to come and stay and go through the first year and come on these coaching calls and transform your life, because the planet needs you to be in a place where you can get from a closing into an opening like that, back on track, giving your gift and being an amazing, harmonious part of the whole. So I love you. Go to BeFearFreeNow.com. Thanks for being here. I'm sending you love and blessings. Go forth and have an amazing day. And